I'm a founder of the Astrobot. NCC is some place that really shapes people and molds them into a disciplined, well-mannered person. I received the Raksha Mantri Commendation Card and patience is something that you require a lot in daily life. It was not something that you would expect a 6-year-old to watch, but some of them are older than me, some of them are smarter than me, some of them have more experience.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Jai Hind, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Voice of Red Hackle, a podcast of the cadets, by the cadets, and for the cadets. Today we have with us former Sergeant Manan Sharma. Jai Hind, Manan.
Then,
Kindly introduce yourself.
Vinda, I am Manan Sharma. I am from the 36th Maharashtra Battalion. I'm a founder of the Astrobot. That is an app that envisions to make amateur astronomy and stargazing more accessible to rural areas. I'm the only junior division cadet to receive the Defence Minister Commendation Card for the year 2025. I'm an ISRO Young Scientist for the year 2024 and a YEB-certified young entrepreneur at BITS Pilani. I am also an amateur astronomer at Jyotirvidya Parisanstha, which is India's oldest amateur astronomers organization. I am a pre-national 10-meter air rifle shooter. I also recently just completed the Lodha Genius program, which was a 1 month fully funded program for science and maths.
Okay, that is quite a lot of achievements indeed, and we're quite proud of you for all of that as well. So, before we get on to your achievements, why did you exactly join NCC?
Okay, that's a really good question. So, what motivated me the most to join NCC was my mother. My mother herself was an NCC cadet in the Air Wing, and she's also an NCC officer. She won a gold medal at OTA Gwalior, and it really inspired me to see my mother achieving such feats at such a great platform. So I figured that NCC is some place that really shapes people and molds them into a disciplined, well-mannered person. And for that very reason, my mother and the very fundamentals of NCC is what attracted me towards joining it.
Indeed, those are some true fundamentals which we all look for. And apart from that, what all have you actually learned from NCC?
Okay, so NCC has really taught me a lot. I've learned a lot about leadership and a lot about people in general. I've also learned that there's lots of people smarter than you, lots of people not as smart as you, and you have to deal with lots of people figuring out how they're trying to make their way into the world. Camps are a very integral part of NCC, and we can talk about that as well.
Okay. So, as you mentioned, the camps are quite integral. So, do you want to share any experience of yours in any particular camp?
Okay, so I've been to three camps. That is the RDC 2025. I've been to Ek Bharat Shresh Bharat in 2023 and a CATC in Pune in 2022. So I think the most memorable moments were in both RDC and EBSB. So at RDC, it was the most memorable to receive the Defence Minister Commendation Card with the Raksha Mantri himself, Shri Rajnath Singh. The another most fundamentally important moment in NCC was in the EBSB camp. I remember our administrative officer was trying to calm down the entire crowd. There were 600 cadets and they were making a lot of noise. So calming them down was quite a bit of a task. So he got a little mad at us, and he challenged all of us that if you can, none of you can come here and speak 2 minutes on the war between Israel and at Gaza. So I figured that okay, if sir is challenging us, why not go for it? So I went for it, and I gave a 2 minute long speech, and he was quite impressed. So I figured that approaching opportunities in NCC and camps is very important because it's not really that difficult. You just have to go for it. And if you can do that, you can make your way through anything in NCC.
That is quite a good and positive mindset. And I'm sure that that is something that we should all achieve and aspire for. As you mentioned that you have received the Raksha Mantri Commendation Card. So, can you please elaborate upon that and that why did you receive it?
Okay. So I received the Raksha Mantri Commendation Card because of what I did in EBSB. So I did quite a few things. I did public speaking in EBSB. I represented my company for three activities: public speaking, debating, and also in the quiz. Apart from that, I also won the first prize in the idea and innovation competition that was held in the Ek Bharat Shresh Bharat camp. Because of how radical my idea was, I posted an application from my unit to the head department, to the NCC head, and they accepted me for the Defence Minister Commendation Card.
That sounds quite simple, but I'm sure it must have been quite a tiresome process.
Yes, working with logistics is not very easy.
Indeed. As you've mentioned that you were quite excelling in NCC, but you were also quite excellent at your studies. So, was there any particular field in your school that you were quite interested in pursuing?
Okay, so I've always been very interested in science in general. Physics attracts me the most because gravity. But yes, I've also forever been fascinated with how nature works, fundamentally how physics works, and with space in general. So when I was a kid, I used to watch this documentary about the beginning of the earth, and it was not something that you would expect a 6 year old to watch, but it was something that fascinated me so much. I used to watch it like every couple of weeks. So it was something that's something that I grew up with. So that's where my interest in physics and astronomy came into the picture. Talking about how I'm excelling at both studies and NCC, I think that it's NCC that really shaped me into being able to do both of them at the same time. This is because NCC is all about discipline. I mean, waking up at 5, sleeping at 1, that kind of thing you do not get to do anywhere else because the world is a very bound place. But NCC is somewhere where you can actually go ahead and complete lots of tasks, and it's a holistic base where you are able to diversify what you're trying to do.
Indeed, NCC provides you with all of that, and it is quite good that you're excelling in both of them. As you've mentioned that you're quite interested in astronomy, and you have also started a project called Astrobot. So, can you please elaborate upon what that project entitles?
Okay. So Astrobot is an application that envisions to make amateur astronomy and stargazing more accessible to people in rural areas. So what it does is it helps you navigate through the night sky. It gives you assistance and reminders as to what is a good time to sky watch, and what is a good time to do stargazing. So it also gives you basically the values of the telescope. For example, the azimuth, that is the horizontal axis, and the altitude, that is the vertical axis. So it gives you values as to how you're supposed to view what object at what particular time at what place. So that's what Astrobot is all about.
That is quite an interesting application, I'm sure. How did you come up with the idea?
Okay, so this idea came up when I was in JVP, that is Jyoti Vidya Parisanstha. So I saw that some of the people, they weren't really quite fundamentally understanding how this works. So I figured that okay, let's make an app for people who don't have access to such great organizations. So what about rural people? They have no clue. And I have a feeling that rural people will have a greater edge over urban people because the urban
Hmm.
cities are completely polluted with both air pollution and light pollution. So there's not a lot to see in urban cities. But in rural areas, the sky is beautiful. So you can really see a lot and do a lot of stargazing. Maybe not as a scientific pursuit, but maybe as a hobby.
Indeed, that would be quite an interesting hobby to have. So, as you've mentioned that your idea was something for rural people. So, I'm sure you must have faced a lot of challenges as well. So, can you mention a few and how did you tackle with them?
Yeah, so I think one of the largest challenges was finding right data sets. So to train AI, you need a vast amount of information. So first of all, I was really confused. I mean, where do I get so much data from? Then I figured, oh wait, I'm part of JEP. Let's just approach them. So I went to JEP. They said, okay, we have these sets of books, and I'm like, okay, that's just perfect. I fed the books. Well, it gave up quite a few incorrect answers, so I kept on feeding books, and over time the accuracy kept getting better.
I'm sure it must have felt wonderful to
Yeah,
see
every
her.
time getting better is a really nice feeling.
I'm sure that must have been the case. So, do you think that NCC in any manner helped you throughout this project of yours?
Absolutely, because like I said, NCC instills the discipline in you. For being a leader, for being someone who's actually making a project of their own, you need that discipline, that consistency to actually work hard towards that project, to that cause. And NCC really brings that about in a person.
Okay, that is true indeed. As you've mentioned that your aim is that it reaches to a lot of rural people. And we all understand that there is quite a gap in the education system when it comes to the urban education system and the rural education system. So how do you plan to bridge that divide?
So that is basically what the aim of Astrobot is. Astrobot is trying to bridge that gap so that there's no difference between class. I feel that we can do a much better job at this because the education system is something that's very rigid and difficult to change. So why not start at yourself?
Okay, that is indeed quite a good outlook towards it. You've also mentioned that you were good at 10-meter air rifle shooting.
Yes.
So, do you think that sports in any manner has contributed towards your learning?
I think my sport, that is shooting, is a lot about patience. And patience is something that you require a lot in daily life. I mean, if you're working with people and you're leading a team, patience is something that you require for your entire team. You need to know the strengths of your team, you need to know the weaknesses of your team to be able to lead them towards your goal.
Okay, patience is quite an important virtue indeed. At such a young age, you're managing a lot of things and you're actually excelling in all of them. So, what is one thing that you would like to tell people about management as well as leadership?
Okay, so the most important thing about managing your daily schedule is to actually make one. So, what I do is whenever I'm feeling stressed or I feel like there's too much on my plate, I tend to organize stuff. So, I write down my daily journal, and that really clears up whatever you have to do. When you write down a journal for the next day, you figure out that there's actually a lot more time than you imagined. Your day consists of around uh, more than 16 hours, because if you're sleeping of around an average of 8 to 9 hours, you'll have a lot of time basically. So in that time, how well you can maximize what you're doing is what matters the most. So creating your daily schedule is something that I practice whenever I require it, and also on a daily basis. So that is something that can really help anyone who's young to clear their thoughts and get on a path that will make them successful. Talking about leadership, you can join clubs. There's lots of clubs out there, or you could start leadership at your school. You could make your own club, and it really helps a lot because interacting with so many people tells you about other opportunities that you have where you can excel. And I was part of one such club called the Gal Club of Found Pune. This started back in September 2019, and I've been a chartered member ever since. I've served as president for one term and vice president for two terms. And it has been really well interacting with people younger and older than me and leading them towards a better public speaking journey.
Wow, that is indeed doing quite a lot for someone of your age. And I'm sure your parents must be quite proud of you as well. While reaching the end of the podcast, is there any parting advice that you would like to give to the audience right now that is watching us?
So I think anyone who's in NCC, approach senior officers. It's not a bad thing to do. Uh, if you have any issue, you can approach them. I remember back in the EBSB camp, I wanted pictures of me getting the certificates, and I had to. You'll have to skip a few lunches and dinners for that, but it'll be worth it. It'll really be worth it because you need that media. If you have any issue, it's better to approach a senior officer because they can get the work done in 5 minutes, which would take junior officers like an hour or more. So that's something that anyone should in NCC should do when they're getting into camps or when they're talking to, maybe they're getting to a unit. Um, if you're not in NCC, join NCC. That is something that you should really do. It'll really mold you as a person. You'll come out as a completely different, very well shaped, very well cut, structured person.
That is indeed quite a good advice, and I'm sure that our audience will learn from it. So now we move on to our last segment, which is the rapid fire, in which I will ask you a bunch of questions and you have to answer the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
So the first question, your favorite NCC memory.
Okay, so my favorite NCC memory is at the EBSB camp when I got the first prize. I still remember very distinctly how it happened. Uh, we had the prize distribution ceremony was on the second last day of the entire camp. And honestly, I was not aware that my idea was good enough to reach the first prize. I was like, okay, there's 600 cadets. Let's see how many of them submitted their applications. That comes down to about 300. Out of 300 cadets, am I the one who's going to get the first prize? Maybe, maybe not. Some of them are older than me, some of them are smarter than me, some of them have more experience. I thought I might be at the fourth, fifth position. They're going to announce 15 people to get the certificates. Uh, it went from 15, it went from 10, 5, 4, 3. I'm like, what? Where's my name? And then I'm like, no, I can't be the first one. Maybe my name's not there. And then I hear my name, Manan Sharma. I'm like, whoa! So all my friends were cheering around me. I remember so distinctly. I went up to the stage, I took my certificate. I was really happy.
That is such a good way to put it. And I'm sure anybody who is at the first position would certainly feel that way.
Yeah.
So, what drives your passion for space science?
Like I said, from very early in my age, I've been very attracted towards space science and physics. So I've just genuinely have been interested in science, and that's what drives me. Watching those documentaries, watching those series on science, it's something that always fascinates me. So that's basically what drives me all along.
Okay, that is quite interesting indeed, I believe. What is the one most important quality that a leader should have?
Okay, so this is actually a very subjective question that depends on what is the task at hand. But one quality of a leader that is universally required is camaraderie, and also the fact that you should know the strengths and weaknesses of whoever is there in your team. Because if you're assigning someone who's climbing a tree to swim, and if you're assigning someone who's good at swimming to climb a tree, it won't work out. Your team is going to fail. So you should know the strengths and weaknesses. You should talk to your team. You should motivate them to be a good leader.
Quite a crucial quality for a
Very much
leader.
so.
Best advice that you've received so far?
Okay, so there are two advices. I can't really pick out of the two. The first one was was a few months ago when I attended a session of Dr. S. Shankar, the External Affairs Minister of India. So I asked him a question about my application Astrobot, whether how I should expand it, how I should go further in the project. So he advised me to make in India first, go local first, and then plan to go global. Uh, this was a really important advice for my application, and I have taken it forward ever since. The second one was a couple of weeks ago by Dr. K. Vijay Raghavan, who is the former scientific advisor to the Prime Minister of India. He was at Ashoka University where the Lodha Genius program was being held. It was a 1 month program, and in the first week's orientation session, he said that science is not something that's fundamentally broken into subjects like physics, chemistry, biology, as we see in our schools and colleges. It is something that's very interdisciplinary. There's no fine line between PCM. It's like a spectrum, like a color, like lots of
Hmm.
vibrant colors, and one can't live without the other. You need physics for chemistry, you need chemistry for biology, and because of this interdependency, your studies should be interdisciplinary, and that is something that really stuck with me throughout the entire month. And following that, I created a project called the Mindbot, and it's basically for defense applications for detecting mines and evading them and mapping them. So yeah, I think that's some advice that stuck with me for quite a while.
Great advices. Last question. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Okay, where do I see myself in the next 5 years? Probably putting more feathers in my cap, doing more extracurriculars, going further with my Astrobot initiative, my project, and maybe getting into a good astrophysics college. Um, maybe in the Ivies, maybe in the US. Let's hope for the best.
We certainly hope the best for you. And it was lovely having you on the podcast. Thank you for joining us. Jayant.
Jayan, thank you.